Hello everybody and welcome to Murph's Models. Today I'm going to try and make this fabulous sleigh with Jack Skellington because it's getting near Christmas. I think it's time for some sort of festive cheer. Not that this is so cheerful, I mean these reindeer, they seem to be quite skeletal, but I love the image and I think it would make a great model. If we look closer here, we can see that the sleigh is actually a coffin. Opening up a halfway mark, there's a rubbish bin, a trash can at the back. We've got a nice little skiing thing here with some nasty looking dragons or something at the front. So yeah, I think it'd be a cool model to do. And it's even got 0 at the front, flying at the front with a glowing red nose. So I think it'd be a great project. I'm going to do the whole thing. So welcome here and let's get started. We're on our way. The latest project for Murph's Models. By the way, if you've got any ideas of stuff that you might like me to make from a TV show, an animated film maybe, or whatever, why don't you give me a little hint as to what you would like down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and we will take all or at least most of your suggestions seriously because we like to please. Let's start making this coffin. Right, so I've worked out sort of some measurements of what the coffin length should be, the size, all based on this picture here, which I printed out to the size that I thought looked really good, and then I started writing down some measurements. The coffin length will be 15 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to block that out now. Start cutting. There we go. Now, with these 2.5 centimeter strips of card, what we can do is mark off where we can score the card. So scoring card is not the same as cutting card. Scoring card is just making a light mark with your cutting tool, your scalpel blade, so that when it comes to fold these corners, they fold nice and straight. Yeah, so just give it a light cut onto the cardboard at those lengths, and then we should be able to get the cardboard and it should, there we go, fold nice and evenly. So that's a nice top tip for you there, so that hopefully it will all sit at the right size. Yes, that's looking good. Now we need to get out some masking tape. And there, straight on there. So there we go, we've got a coffin shape. Once again, the trusty PVA glue comes in handy, and just dribble it through. And put that aside. So while that's drying, I'm going to set this section onto the top. This open bit here is this open bit at the back with the lid pulled up. Okay, so once again, we need to put some glue and PVA. And we'll set this. We'll sit inside the coffin like that. Okay, sorted. Now that I've cut out the lid, I need to cut the ribs that form the shape of the lid of the coffin. Okay, now, so 1, 2, Now it's time to cut this weird little curve at the front of the coffin. We've got the curve on the corner, and now we are tackling this lid and this lid. That will sit up like that. So we need to now glue sections across with card. So, there. Pop that in there like that. Pop that in there like that. I'm going to put lots of glue on here. I'm going to put this section here. And with another one of my pins, pin that in there like that. And then pin this bit in here. This bit in here. Glue off that edge like that. A bit more glue here. We'll pop this in here. Now we'll just put this away to dry. Okay, so this is nice and dry, so it's time to take out the pins. And with a sculpting tool, start to press the holes away. I think the holes will disappear with time. So we have the coffin, we have the back of the coffin, and we have the front of the coffin. If you have a look in the picture, there's a lip all around on the top. So we've already got a lip here. Sits over there like that, and now we need to create one down here. I've already drawn up a the lip which will sit on top like that. Cut that bit there. Ooh. That in there like that. Need to put glue all on here. To that hole, this one through here, and into that hole. Okay, so now for the next task, which is to soften the edges of the coffin. And for that task, I need my favourite product ever, Daz. Yes, just give it an unwrap, get out the Daz, and roll it out nice and thinly. Put a strip of glue in there, then a bit of Daz in there, a little bit of water, and there we go. There we go, we're starting to get it looking right now. So the back here of the coffin will sit like that. I need to cut out this whole section. I'm going to leave a frame about that wide all the way around. Now I'm going to cut out these bits. it's time to put some padding at the back. I've just cut out this section of cardboard, which I'm going to glue in, and then it's out with the Daz again. Yeah, that will do like that. A little bit off there as well. Let's see if that fits in. Good. And that will refer to this here. So these crisscrosses here need to be put into here. See if I can get that looking a bit more soft and fabric-like. I think maybe a few more subtle little edges like that. Boom. Boom. Now we're going to do the skis for the sled. This particular drawing is the right scale, 24 centimeters across. So I've actually used this design because it's a bit clearer than this photo, and I quite like the way the dragons or the cats or whatever the heck they are look here. So I've already drawn up a scaled up version, and I'm going to sculpt this shape in wire. It shouldn't be too tricky. Famous last words. I'll start doing the bending. It's a really quite tight spiral at the start. There we go. So now we have two lovely sleds for our sleigh. Now I'm going to do the stand so that it sits on the coffin like that at the top. Okay, I've already started that process. Here I've got the wire sitting pretty much correctly there. Sit like that. That's one set done. So the skis sit like that, and then the actual skis will sit in here. And then underneath here, I will probably make perhaps a square of cardboard to hold that solidly and glue it to the bottom edge of the coffin. So now we're going to make these lovely dragon heads. We're going to use some raspberry layered yogurt. The first thing to do is to put some double-sided tape onto the back. Nice and flat. We trim off the sides. Then we get a pin and try and find an edge. Okay, so pull that. And now we have sticky back. Now I've got one that I tried earlier just as a guide as to where to put the actual aluminium. Now fold it over and press down like that. Use the sculpting tool. There we go. Press that down. Okay. So now we have that edge. And all we need to do now is to draw how the head should look. Cool. We have our skis. Boom. Okay, so now it's time to put the sled together. This is the base that goes under the coffin, and then these sleds sit on the side like that. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a spacer in between the two sleds to hold them apart so that they always stay in the same spot and also don't sit too flat down the wrong way. Putting a few pins in there. Long glass-headed pins, my favourites for pinning stuff. That will hold them apart. And now what I need to do is get out my trusty cotton thread and start binding them together. And now I start getting my glue and twisting. I'm going to get a little bit of tape and pull it through and just seal it up there so it stays flat. And once they're all done, it's ready to paint. The trash can, or rubbish bin, depending on where you live in the world. So the trash can's quite big when we have a look at it. Doing a line, sort of doing an outline of it. There's the lid up there. You can see a little bit of the handle at the top. It looks like it's about 8 centimeters high. Now all we need is my box of plastic containers. Here we go. All sorts of containers. I'm sure we can find something that will do the trick. These are too small. They're a bit wide. There must be something else. Maybe that on top of that. Hang on. What about if we put this one with that one? That might work. Yeah, that could do the trick. That didn't take long, did it? So now we need to find the trash can lid for this container. So I need to find my box of recycled lid. Where on earth would the lid be that would sit over that? No. This one here? No. Oh, that one fits. Oh, this one fits too. So I've got a choice of 2 here. Well, I'll take both. Thank you. All I need to do now is cut them into shape. This one's going to sit on top, that's going to sit below, so I can get rid of this whole rim here. Now that should sit nice and flat into there. It's 8 centimeters high, so I need to cut the bottom of this off around about here. Put that like that. I need a top that will sit over that. I wonder if I pop that inside, that will reinforce that, won't it? What I'm going to do now is cut this top bit off.
Try not to completely destroy this.
There we go. Now let's see if that will sit nice and flat at the bottom. That works. And we'll put a little bit of glue in here, a bit of the old PVA, which I know will take a while to dry, but I prefer using PVA than hot glue and stuff like that, which will also melt the plastic, so plastic won't be too good for it. I've glued the trash can together. I've marked in paper to go around the trash can. I'm going to trace it onto a piece of corrugated card. Once we have the card cut, all we need to do is fold it around the curve of the cut so that it's easier to wrap around our plastic containers. What we need to do is cover this in glue. It wraps around like that. This should go around like that. And there we have it. Now what we need to do is cut some card to do the same process. There we go. now sit in here. A quick spray of craft mount onto this aluminium foil and we'll be able to stick our card on top. So I've sprayed this with spray mount outside where it's nice and safe and free of all those nasty fumes. Now all I need to do is put the card on top like this and press it down like that. I've sprayed some aluminium foil. I'm going to pop the lid that I'm using onto there. As you can see, it takes the shape of the lid really well. Even on the edges, most of the wrinkles disappear. So I will continue to do this. I'm just going to put a dab of glue on there and pop down this handle. There we go. So now we've got the trash can. Now it's time to do the handles for the coffin. I'm going to use this lovely thin wire and I have constructed a little map. 60mm across, 15 millimeters from either side is the twirl, then there's a 7.5 for the bend over and 15 millimeters again at the front for the handle. I've marked up a section here. I'm now going to do a twist around like that on either side at the same angle. And twist that over like that. Still needs a bit more twist. Up like that. The handle. Now we're going to glue the handles onto the tops of the handle wires. The handles are made from toothpicks. There we go. Now we're going to do these flames underneath the coffin. The flames, and there's a head, there's a bit of a devil head underneath here somewhere. So I've already sketched out how I think it will look. It's an interpretation of the actual design. So let's go ahead and cut it out. There we go. I have some aluminium foil that I have sprayed with this lovely craft spray mount. I'm going to put these two sides to the sleigh. I'm going to put it on that edge so that I can glue this edge to the bottom of the coffin. So I don't want the aluminium foil on the bottom section. So let's see if I can do this. There. Line that up across there. So I can just use a little bit of soft cloth to make sure it's going to dry. Nice and solidly on there. There we go. Nice. Once that's dry, it's time to cut the silver off.
This is going to take a little time.
Now it's time for some painting. Okay, so first up, we're just going to do the little padded red velvet seat that Jack Skellington sits on inside the coffin. So the first thing I'm going to do is do a deeper red, a dark red. So I've mixed a bit of black in with the red. Now we're going to do the cushioning inside the lid of the coffin. And this sits behind Jack Skellington. So again, we're going to do a dark red base as a starter colour all over the whole thing. So once the undercoat is dry, I go over the top of it with a slightly brighter, more vermilion red. over the top of the cushions, just dry brushing it over, and that hopefully will create the effect of a plush red velvet interior inside the coffin, and that's what we're after. As for the coffin itself, well, that is sort of a greeny brown colour, so basically it's just going to have a wash of green all over. And after that, it's time to put some brown shadows around the edges on the top and on the sides. I think we're going to have a go at painting these serpents or dragons or whatever else you'd like to call them. I think I'm going to call them serpents now. I'm just changing my mind all the time. Just depends on the time of day. Okay, so just like a splash here, I think. Create a real point on there. There we go. I'll turn that around. And just maybe smudge that. Then maybe a little bit of some scrunchy there too. A little bit down there. A little bit down on here as well. I think that's probably about all it needs, really. Let's glue on some handles. I put some dots here where the handle should go. And with a little bit of a dab of PVA glue and some masking tape, now what we need to do is put the front section on. I should get some glue on here. There first. Masking tape on there, I think. Almost there. Next thing to do is to pop that on like that. Let's put a lot of glue on here. Hold it in position for a little bit. Then rest it down on something appropriate with some masking tape to hold it together. Now what I want to do is attach the trash can to the back here. Whoops! I totally forgot to show you how I made the stand to hold the trash can on. Listen, look at this. This shows you how to do it using lovely thick card. Just need to push those two sections in. There we go. Now dab some glue on the braces at the back that hold the trash can to the coffin. And I'm sticking in some silver flames that are actually supposed to look as though they're holding the trash can to the coffin. There we go. Masking tape, and the job's done. How would it be if we could get this guy into that coffin by next week? That'll be fab. See you next time on Murph's Models.